Hello, my superstar artists. We are going to do Sheila from our World Book Day book. Now, she is a very special hippopotamus, isn't she? So I thought we would do the picture of where she's flying through space on the page which goes boom. So, are you ready? I know you're going to be amazing at this because you're getting so good at your art, aren't you? Okay, let's go. So our first step is we're actually going to make these 2 points here, the 2 edges of her nose here. So you're going to take your sheet of paper, A4, and from the bottom of the sheet of paper, you are going to, oops, if I can show you. So that's the bottom of the A4. It's about maybe just a bit more than my finger. So for you, it might be a finger and a half from the bottom, and maybe your finger in from one side, and you do a little tiny bracket, and then you leave about a finger space, and it doesn't have to be perfectly level, which means not exactly on the same line. If you look, and then you do your other bracket. Yes, so they're not exactly on the same line, just give it a sort of, but what's important is that you don't make it just 2 finger spaces. Look, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of my finger spaces, which for you, some of you, if you're in Key Stage 1, might be 5. Okay, right, next. So you've got your 2 little hearts here, and now, so we've done these 2. Now we are just going to do these 2 bits here, which show just here where they meet her cheek. Okay, so you come up a bit, so you know that the shape's going in. Yes, it's going in. So come up from it and go in a little bit and draw a little line, not a curve, it's a little line, a short one. This one is about 2 fingers apart, 2 of my fingers, maybe 2.5 of yours. As long as they're narrower, because you can see, look, this is wide, this is narrow, this point here. This specific point here is what we're doing. Okay, so it's narrower here, this is wider. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers, this is 2 fingers across. And then you join them. So you've got your curve and you join them. So you've got these marks and you join your marks. And now you've got her lovely nose. So here's her nose. This you've just done. And now I'm going to do the tip of her nose, this bit here. So I've got the 2 curves here, and I'm going to come down about a finger and a bit from whichever one's slightly lower and in the middle. So I'm going to find my middle, which means it's the same amount of space either side, and I come down. Doesn't have to be perfect, you don't need a ruler, just use your common sense, use your eyesight to help you. You come down and you do a tiny little shape like that. It's almost like a tiny little, very tiny number line jump. Okay. Right, now, so we've got all this here. You're up to here, and then you've got your little, and now you're going to join it. This line here. So you're doing this, so you're going from the middle of her nose to the edge. You join it. Okay. And you join the other side. So you go from there and you go up to your curve. Okay. So now you should have her lovely shape of her nose. And now you're going to go up and do the point where her hat sits. So we're actually doing this point, these 2 points here for her hat. And to guide yourself by that, I would go up with your spaces. You literally go up in a straight line now from the 2 points where you've got, and you do your 2 little marks. Okay. And then you join from where this point here, from the edge of your line. So you're actually doing this bit here. You're doing her cheek or her head shape. And you go up to join it to your point. So this is my point. This is the edge of my line, and I join it up with a nice round shape. Okay, give it a nice round shape. You can almost give it a little bit of a up and a down, but not a sharp edge. No sharpness to it. And you do exactly the same the other side. I've given her a little bit more of a lump on this side. They don't have to be exact on either side. Okay, so you're doing these bits here. You've got a little lump, 2 little lumps we end up with. Okay, good job. And then you do the base of the hat, which you join it with a soft curve, which means it's not a straight line, and it goes down a little bit and comes up. Now I'm going to do her eyes. Now her eyes are about the size of the green peas that you might have with your fish and chips. They're quite close to the base of the hat. Don't worry about them being identical. Try and make them the same, but don't worry. Okay. And they have not quite my pinky finger apart, but they're not very close together. Certainly a pencil apart. Yeah. And if you've made your head bigger, then even more than a pencil apart. They're sort of tucked into the corner of her head. And then you add the eyes. Now, because she's falling or hurtling through space as she's crash landing, her eyes are all over the place. They're not actually looking the same way. And this is quite important for this particular image of her. Can you see the pupil here is looking out that way, and the other pupil is looking out the other way, because that's to give a feeling of loss of control, that she's sort of flying through space. Okay, it'd be very hard for that to happen in reality. So you put one close to the edge looking that way, and one sort of maybe near the middle, not completely. So don't make them looking both complete opposites. Give them a different position, basically. Doesn't matter what. They just need a different position to each other. Oh, and then I've added the top of the hat. A little curve to show where the top of the hat is, by allowing it's about 1-2 finger spaces at the most, and a little curve. And then you join your hat up to the curve. Make your little hat, and you add a little sort of hook or bobble that she has. She has a little hook. It's like her aviator's cap, isn't it? Now you're going to do the shape for her ears, her little hippo ears. Hippos have ever such cute ears. So you go from the hat and you almost give her 2 little wings. It looks like 2 little insect wings. They're about a finger out, but they've got a nice curved shape going up. Again, they don't have to be matched identically. They're slightly different, each of them. You can see in her picture, her ears are slightly all over the place. Remember, she's hurtling through space. Yes? You can keep this here, that might help you. Right. Next, oops, I've jumped quite a bit there, but we'll do this. You're going to join her ear down to the side of her cheek with a sort of curved line going in. And on this side, you can make it come out. It doesn't really matter, just as long as it's a soft shape. So on this side, I've done a line coming in, slight soft line coming in. And this side, I gave it a curved coming out. As long as it joins at the same point on her cheek, which is near the top of her eyes. Can you see? The connection where the ear comes to join her cheek or the side of her head is really important, that point. And then you've got her ears. Okay. Now we'll do her arms. So her arms, you're going to, from the edge of her cheek, you come out in a line. Remember, it shouldn't be straight, but it doesn't need to be curved. and it comes down. So it sort of comes down. If you run a pencil across her nose, about a finger down, up to there, on this side. Yeah. And on this side, you just maybe do a flick out with the pencil, about a finger and a half across. Flick out. But the key thing is that they both sides start at the same point, which is that sort of just where you've got the lump or the curve in her cheek, where it's at the point where it starts to change from going up to down. You see, up, down, which is about the middle of her eyes in my case. And then whatever you've done on this side, you do the same on the bottom. And again, the most important thing is your starting point, which is just where the cheek meets the nose. So this point here, and you come out. You just make it slightly longer. See, this one's come down a bit. And here, the same. So I go round here, so I'm going to do the same. But my key thing is I start here. Okay. Her arms. So at the moment, we've got this far. Yeah. And now you're going to finish her hand off here. So I just did a little bit, I just came out and then I did my zigzags, in, out. I did 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. They have 4 toes, hippos, I think. Might have 3. I need to check that actually. And her other side, her other arm, you come up, just make it slightly longer in a curve, so it goes up and round. Okay. And then you join on this side. So this side I've given her 3 fingers or toes because it's actually her legs, isn't it? And this side 4. So you can see that clearly I need to go and investigate and research properly how many toes hippos have. So you should have both of these closed now. Right, now you've done the hard part. Now you're going to do the fun part. You're going to add her lovely outfit that she went into space with. And by doing that, you just do some lines going out from behind her hat and her ear. And don't worry too much about where, but just do them randomly. Yeah, and then you close them. Try and make them, that one thing that you do want to try and do is try and make them relatively similar widths. By that I mean that mine are mostly about pencil wide. They don't have to be all exactly that. You can see this one's thinner, okay? But at the end of the day, the dress is made up of the pieces of material of similar width, okay? And then you just start filling up that whole space behind with these sort of shapes. Again, can you see I'm making them quite randomly? Yeah. See how you go, see how you feel about it. Go right behind her ear, bring one out. And you can close one off to behind one of the others, so you don't always have to draw both sides. So this one, I did the outside, then I did the top bit, and then I've just done a line that comes in behind this one, and I'm not going to draw the other side because I'm pretending it's hiding. Like I did on this one, I came out behind the hat, I closed it into the other one, and I didn't do the other side. I didn't do 1, 2 lines. You can do that, and you just fill her up like this with lots and lots of shapes. And use the trick I showed you of not always doing both sides. Close them in to the ones that you did do. So use the first ones you did, these ones, to help you build the picture. Yeah. And sometimes you can just draw a bit that goes along the top. You don't even draw any down lines. You just draw the line across. And you fill her all the way in. Here, look, I've got some hiding in here that I've just done by that. Others, I did this. I drew the line out starting from the middle, and I did it from the other bit. This one, I drew a line across, and I drew a bit here filling up. Okay, so you can have lots of fun. But basically, you've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 14 or 15 strips almost that make up her dress. Okay. Now you're going to make her leg. So once you've done your strips, and you must have this bit finished to be able to do it, to do her legs. Okay. You can then start looking at her legs, and you go to the top, to one side first, and you just draw a line that goes out at an angle. By that I mean it's not straight up like this, it comes out like this. Okay. And then you leave about 1.5 fingers, and you do the other one. And that's going to be her leg. Can you see she's got quite thick legs, hasn't she? Like we did for her arms, we just made them a bit thicker. And then you just do your soft zigzag shape again. Okay. And then you do the same on the other side, but this one I've done pointing out this way. This one I'm going to do slightly more straight up. So I just do 2 lines, and then I just join them. You can do your little zigzags. Okay. And there you have your wonderful Sheila the Hippo. Okay. Now, I then used paint to paint her in, or watercolors and paint, but you can use fabulous felt tips. And then I've added this effect here just with some felt tips to show that she's whooshing through space. I could have painted all this background in, given it a rough black, but I haven't for purposes of the assembly. But you can do that too. Okay, but definitely some lines, brush strokes or something that shows that she's hurtling really fast through space. I really look forward to seeing all your pictures. Oh, I have forgotten to give you some really important detail. I wonder if you can spot what I've forgotten. Can you spot it? It's this. Well done, well spotted. So it's her nostrils and the little tip of her nose. So what's really important is her nostrils. This is small detail, but it makes a huge difference. So on this side, you just come down to where you've got the 2 curves, and you do 1 long line, and then a shorter one, and then a shorter one. Yeah? So 3 lines, just gently, just 1, 2, 3. And then on this side, we're giving her a little bit more, as if we can see the nostril a bit more clearly. So you do a bigger line, you come down, so you make sure it's longer than the one on this side, and then you're almost drawing a funny B for boom, aren't you? Because it's not quite round, is it? So it's not correctly drawn as a B, but it's nearly there. Not a B, a D. Okay. Does it look? Yeah, it looks like a D. It looks like B on my screen, but it's a D. Okay, so a D for dad. And you did this. Remember that detail when we're drawing is always really important. It gives a character the expression and it adds to its features. And then you just drew a little tiny black oval for the middle of her nose, which is actually her mouth. She's sort of going ooh as she hurtles through space. Okay, make it quite a little bit narrower. And there we go. And you have your Sheila. I look forward to seeing your drawings. I know Mrs. Dapham is really excited about World Book Day, and she will love also to see any pictures that you have done with your hippopotamus. Okay, you always produce some amazing work, and I know you always are really keen at giving your art a go, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Okay, take care, bye bye. And and see you in school soon. I can't wait.